Hey, it's 9:35 at night. First full day here. I know I haven't streamed anything. And that's kind of the intention. I plan on just doing recaps and whatnot, not necessarily streaming all day. But I just wanted to capture the events of the day before I forget them. It was a really good day. I know you probably can't see me, but that's okay. Uh, This morning we got up, we went to the Capitol, made a lap around the Capitol, met some really nice people. There was a couple of veterans and their significant others, and they profusely thanked us and were very nice. And in fact, asked us to line up so they could take pictures with us. So that was really refreshing to see them. Uh, One observation, and I think Santa may have said this earlier, but yeah, when we walked up to the Capitol at first, there was a very heavy police presence that all just came out as if they were preparing to defend against us, old graybeards. But so that was a little odd. But after we stood there a little while, um, they kind of loosened up a little bit, if you will. But like I said, we got to meet some really nice people there and on the way. We came back here. I had an encounter with a very nice young woman. There was uh, people, local. We see different kinds of people. We see tourists, and then we see local residents. And uh, oftentimes the tourists are more interested than the local residents. I have to assume the local residents hear a lot from a lot of different people, so they kind of learn to ignore a lot. But the tourists, they're here in this city for a reason. But we see a lot of tourists from other countries. I talked to some people from Australia today and some people from the Netherlands, and they were very interested. But the one thing I wanted to mention was this nice young lady. The locals ride their bikes and jog. So many people jog in this city. I've never seen so many joggers and bike riders. But this lady was jogging by and she stopped and she said that she was a federal employee, and she wanted to thank us for what we were doing. Um, and she told us a little bit about she's got some I don't know if they're coworkers or she said there's a group of people that are trying to do something, but because their jobs were threatened and they thought they were going to lose their job, and they're still nervous, and they were really she was really thankful for what we were doing, and so that was nice to hear from a federal employee. Um, hey, got a chatter there. You guys can rewind and start at the beginning if you want to, but because I just yammer a lot, but anyway, this it was really refreshing to see a local federal employee saying thank you. And so I encouraged her to send her coworkers or whoever they were uh, to come down and just see us and say hi, because this group could use some encouragement too. So hopefully she'll send down her friends, and we'll get a good message. After that, I went with a few people over to the National Archives. I've been over there before. Last time I made a trip to DC was about 5 years ago, um, but we went again. It's a beautiful place, beautiful building, beautiful displays of everything. But something I that kind of occurred to me while we were there is that place is a metaphor for the things that are going on in this country. Uh, you first there's people, and this is rather insignificant, but you see people with their kids, a lot of teenage kids, um, and some of them, the parents have obviously made the kid wear a mask, so their face is covered up. Yet the rest of their body is not. They're scantily clad kids wearing a face mask. So it makes me question, you know, what are those parents thinking? You know, but that's kind of neither here nor there. But the real metaphor is the documents themselves. You know, if you've ever seen them, they're, you know, so old, and it's gorgeous to see them, and it's very important that we still have them, but they're so faded that you can't read the words. Um, you know, they're almost almost look like a blank piece of paper. They're so, you know, they've deteriorated so much over the years. Um, and like I said, it's kind of a metaphor that, you know, there's these documents in this beautiful display, but they're a relic of the past, and they're not treated as, you know, it's a faded message. It's not something that we, you know, can read or even know about anymore. And something else I noticed there is no, you know, when you have something faded like that, if I were designing the display, I would put the actual text that's written there in the display, you know, typed up in, you know, Times New Roman or whatever font you want to use, so that a person could stand there and read it. Um, but nowhere on display is the text of any of those documents: the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. All those documents are there, but you can't read them, and there's no text anywhere else to read them. So that's a little frustrating. And then uh, the last thing is the way they uh, allow people in. And maybe I'm nitpicking here, but uh, the I don't if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. But the display is a big arc, a semicircle of all the different documents there, and they're in a big, I don't know if they call it a rotunda or a big kind of room, and so they kind of limit the number of people that can go in there at a time, but it's still a lot of people that they let in all at once. And they say and repeat over and over, there are no lines. If you want to, whichever document you want to see, you don't have to get in line and go see all of them. You go right up to the document you want to see. And I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that's, you know, that's they want to speed the process and get people through, get people a chance to see the documents. But uh, the thing is, you know, they repeat over and over, there's no lines, don't stand in line. But when two people are standing in front of the document you want to see, your options are give them the elbow and push them out of the way, or you stand in line behind them and wait for them to move. Um, I don't know. You say, why can't I see anyone's comments? Maybe you're the only one commenting. I think there's only two people watching right now. So um, I see your comments, but I don't see anyone else's either. So maybe it's just us. but uh, but that's okay. Like I said, I'm just doing a little ranting. Um, but yeah, so they say it so firmly and so uh, strongly that there's no lines. Just push your way up there. Basically, it makes me feel like, you know, you have the option of, you know, pushing somebody out of the way and being rude, or being polite and ignoring them and standing in the lines. And the good news is that I think the majority of people still exist in a polite society. So people were standing in lines for the most part, and and you know, it was very civil and respectful. So from the people, not necessarily from the guards and whatnot. So anyway, like I said, just a strange observation that it was sort of a metaphor for the things that are happening in our country. The faded the faded words of the Constitution, which uh, you know, I hope we can remember. Uh, some y'all may have seen me on other streams today. Oh, hey, you're here listening. Great, that's good. I don't know if y'all saw me on other streams today, but I am wearing uh, a shirt that has the 10th Amendment on it. And if you're not familiar with the 10th Amendment, I'd recommend you go read it. You probably can't see my shirt, but that's the one that says, the things that aren't laid out in this document for the federal government to do is kind of off limits, and so that's left to the states. And so I think that amendment kind of summarizes essentially what this movement's all about. I know, people rattle off the First and Second Amendment and others, but you don't hear as much about the 10th Amendment. I really had to struggle to find uh, a couple of shirts with the 10th Amendment on it that I could order online. But I'm proud to be wearing it, and I've gotten several compliments and people asking about the 10th Amendment, so that's worked out well. What else? Like I said, I had a nice long conversation from the guy from the Netherlands. He was um, very interested and very knowledgeable, much more knowledgeable than most of our own citizens are, about things in general. But he was very excited to hear about what we're doing, and so I feel like we've gotten a lot of positive feedback here lately. Oh, y'all may have heard this, but when while I was gone to the National Archives, I came back and I checked YouTube, and it looks like X-Ray came by. So I must have just missed him. I wish I would have had a chance to wave at him or something, but apparently he came by and got a chance to talk to Santa briefly, and but I have not seen him in person. So I don't know what happened to him. I didn't get a chance to watch this whole stream. I just kind of scanned through it. Um, that's another observation. I don't know if I've said this before, but it's a little bit surreal in that when I'm at home, um, I've got 3 or 4 streams I watch. I bounce around, I scan through, and I feel like I get a detailed view of everything that's happening uh, here at the camp. But now that I'm actually here in person, um, I feel like I have less information because I'm not seeing those streams pop up. I'm not watching them as they happen, and so um, it's not true that I have less information, but I I get different pieces of information in different ways than you do on the stream. So it's a little different. One last thing I'll mention, like I said, this is very stream of consciousness, and I apologize if I'm boring you guys to tears. But like I said, I wanted to kind of capture my own thoughts for later. But what was I going to say? One thing I noticed, when you're watching from home, uh, there are streamers for obvious reasons. They leave their streams running all day, and you see a lot of the grass and the chairs and people sitting and yada yada yada. But when you're here, um, oh yeah, yeah, no one but Santa knew. Yeah, yeah. But he did post a video of it. X-Ray posted on his channel, so that's the only way I found out is watching X-Ray's channel. But anyway, what I was saying is when you're here, uh, you see people scurrying around all around the edges that's not necessarily in the camera frame. So people are doing stuff. Second of all, when we make a trip to the Capitol, that's a pretty big hike, and it's very hot. And so by the time you make that trip and come back, you're sweating and exhausted, and it's everybody's sleeping in their cars here, and so you don't get a ton of sleep. And so it's very easy to be, people are literally exhausted here, and so they need more people, not just to make an impact, but to cover all the bases. When you've got people that stay up all night long doing security, um, they struggle to be awake and doing things during the daytime because they were up all night long. So they need help with things like that, and so. Um, I'd encourage anybody that's able to make the trip. Just make the trip. It's worth it. And I don't think X-Ray is one of my subscribers, but he said I owed him two. I brought one. Just me. Half is better than none. I'm here. All of you, everybody has their own story, and I know not everybody can make it, and so I don't feel the need to, you know, if this and if that. I think um, the only way if you're able to come is to look in the mirror and say, could I be there? Um, and only you know the answer to that. So um, anybody that's able, it's worth the trip. I would encourage people to make the trip. Um, but like I said, you know I had a pretty good day. I'm gonna try to um, help out everywhere I can, and we'll keep going. I'm gonna be here a little while, so that's about all I got for tonight. But thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow.